Evening, episode 31. Last couple of days I've had a bit of a head fuck, and before I get into it, I swear a lot. So if you don't like that, keep scrolling, watch something else. Last few days, bit of a head fuck. It felt I don't know, like the last video I did, I felt a little bit like I weren't being listened to, from various comments and what have you. But then I remembered I got 4 daughters and they don't listen to me, so I just went up the cart, bought a new set of bollocks, and thought crack on again. So here we are. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Liverpool game, a little bit about some really interesting stats that I found out about 10 minutes ago, and a little bit of a look forward to the next few games. So without further ado, we'll crack on. I'm not going to say like or subscribe. You can if you want. If you don't want to, that's fine. Is what it is. Anyway, cracking on. The Liverpool game. Now, I've watched a couple of videos over the last couple of hours about the Liverpool game. First one's JC's We Are the Arsenal with Albert, and then I watched it live this evening, Cannon Chatter, again with Albert. It's like, fuck me, Albert, you're on telly more than the actual news. But I love to see that, so keep going, fella. So the Liverpool game. Firstly, the formation. I was quite vocal in the formation that I'd have gone for. I'm actually really happy that Mikel Arteta stuck with the 4-4-2. It showed faith in his players and in his formation and in his tactics, and I'm all for that. It didn't work out, but if he'd have changed it and would have still got stuff 4-0, he'd have got lambasted for it. So fair game to him for that. First 20 minutes, I thought we looked alright. We were holding our own. We were matching their intensity, and I got the feeling they were not defensive as such, but they looked concerned about us. Like they were seeing a different Arsenal to the last 2, 3, 4 years. So that was good. But then I think one of the turning points for me, and I'm certainly not slating him for this, but when Ben stepped out with the ball, I don't know when it was, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and in the last couple of games he's had some joy with that, but he got about 10 yards with the ball and he just got pounced on. And we all know that like Liverpool's press is good, but for some reason Saturday night their press just hit in an entirely different way. And this is a very good side. Probably one of the top 3 sides in Europe at the moment. And I predicted with my heart a 2-1, with my head a 1-1, but I think deep down I knew that we weren't going to get much out of this game. Like I say, their press it hits differently, and they are such a good side, and especially Anfield under the lights, with that crowd behind them, it's different beans. It really is, and it was a very difficult game to watch for me anyway. And conceding the first goal when we did, it was literally the worst time to concede. And then the way they come out in the second half, it was damage limitation very early on. And I'm not going to sit here and slate any of the players for any mistakes that they made or any shortcomings, especially not the younger lads. Tavares and Sambi have come in for some stick, and I think it's completely unfair. We are a work in progress, and I'm already seeing improvements. I mean, we're 12 games in, we're 5th, and we've played the 3 best teams in the league so far. I'll come on to that in a little bit with the stats that I unearthed. So I'm not going to go too in depth because other people who are way better at it than I have already covered it, so there's no point in me covering old ground. I was quite impressed with the little fracas between Mikel Arteta and Jurgen Klopp. I enjoyed that a lot, to be honest. There was a little bit where it seemed like it was like, oh, stop me, oh, someone stop me. And all jokes aside, on the commentary, they said that they felt like Mikel Arteta's reaction to Mane's challenge on Tomiyasu had like sparked Klopp, then sparked the crowd, then sparked the Liverpool players. It's almost like they were saying it was his fault for it. It's like, fuck's sake. Liverpool were always going to beat us on Saturday night. They were always going to beat us. They were just that good. And, you know, we didn't really have much of a look in after 20 minutes. But some people are saying that Mikel Arteta's reaction showed immaturity, it showed naivety, and it handed it to Liverpool. I entirely disagree with that thought process. What I want to see from my manager is if he sees something that's wrong, he's jumping up and he's standing up for his boys. If he'd have stood there and not reacted, he'd have got ripped apart for that as well. You know, it would be a little bit fucking Steve McLaren with the brolly, or Sven-Goran Eriksson sitting on the bench, to use a couple of like England analogies. I want to see my manager getting stuck in as much as he wants his players to get stuck in. And if what he did had the opposite effect and it had massively sparked our lads on and it had shut the Liverpool crowd up and would have gone on to, you know, get that 2-1, then everyone would be saying that's brilliant. I love that he's reacted like that. But, you know, now I fully 100% back him for how he reacted there. Fair play to you. I'm also interested to know if there was a fight between Mikel Arteta and Jurgen Klopp, who would win. I think Mikel would probably win, being the younger man. Klopp would probably use his reach. Mikel would maybe work him inside a little bit. And I think over the course of the 12 rounds, I'd give it to Mikel. Maybe on a, you know, it could be a split decision, or it could be that he got TKO in the 11th. Who knows? Anyway, that's what I reckon would happen. So, moving on, there's been, this was always going to happen. Fuck me. Like I said, I knew that we would probably lose this game, and I also knew social media, Twitter, everywhere else would be jumping in, calling for Arteta out again. But you need to remember, we're 12 games in, and especially after the first 3 games, we're 5th in the league. All right, our goal difference is minus. I'll go into that a little bit more in a minute. But we're 5th in the league after playing the top 3 teams. We've still got West Ham to play in a few weeks, so that's not going to be easy. But compared with where we were after 3 games, you know, we're like, I think 3 points off 3rd spot. You know, if we'd have won the other night, Liverpool would not be as far ahead of us as they are now. So we're still in the mix. And you've got to bear in mind, like, the top 3, they're gone. Entirely gone. They're different level to everyone else. Everyone's fighting for 4th, 5th and 6th. And there is no reason why that can't be between us, West Ham, whoever else jumps in. At the minute, Wolves are in there, but, you know, it'll probably be Man U and the other lot. But, you know, there's no reason why we can't be in that mix. So 12 games in, I'm pretty happy with the fact that we're in 5th place after playing them lot. Now, when you look at the games we've lost, like I said, we've lost 4. If you can't discount the first game against Brentford, but that was a bit of an anomaly. We had players out with COVID. It was Brentford's first game in the top flight, first big game in their new stadium, first big game with a full house. You know, it's almost like Sky Sports set that up because it was always going to be difficult for us. So that's done. That's a complete anomaly. And then we've been turned over by Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool. And in the 4 games we've lost, that's given us a goal difference of minus 13 just from those games. We've not scored in any of those games. and we've shipped 9 in the City and the Liverpool games, so that needs to be took into account. But one thing I was interested in was the actual goal difference in the league. It's fucking mental this year. Normally, this far into a season, you look at the goal difference of the teams at the top, you can see who's going to be there or thereabouts. And when you look at the bottom of the table, you can see who's going to be fucking going down, i.e. Norwich, definitely already. But I was interested because the top 3 teams, their goal difference is ridiculous. And what I did earlier, I combined the goal difference of the top 3 teams, which comes to plus 69. Then I combined the goal difference of the other 17 teams, which comes to minus 70. That's right, minus 70. There is only 2 teams outside the top 3 who've got a positive goal difference. You've got West Ham are on plus 9, Crystal Palace are on plus 1, and the only other ones that come close is Wolves. They're not even positive. It's a neutral. They're on a 0. Everybody else has negative goal difference. Now, I don't know if it's that I've never paid this much attention to it before, or whether it's never been a thing before. And I don't even know of those teams with minus how many of these top 3 that they've played. But that to me sums up more clearly than anything else I can think of what a big gulf there is between the top 3 and everyone else. Moving on from that, looking at the next 2 games, it's potentially could be that each of our next 2 opponents will have their new manager in the dugout for their first game against us. Eddie Howe wasn't at Newcastle's game at the weekend because of COVID. Whether he'll be back or not at the weekend at the Emirates, I don't know. Guaranteed he probably will be. It'll be his first game. And then obviously whatever's going on at Man U, whether they're going to stick with Michael Carrick and the backroom team or actually get an interim in for that game. Pardon me. I don't know, but it just seems a bit weird that we always seem to get fucking new manager bounce against us, and it really pisses me off. But I'm actually really, really looking forward to the Newcastle game because we need to just draw a line under the Liverpool game. Aaron Ramsdale's comments after the game are absolutely spot on. It went badly, but we bounced back, and this will be, I think Saturday's game will be a bigger test of how far Mikel Arteta has brought these players than Saturday's game actually was, because this is going to be a sign of, do we go through another one of these runs where we consistently capitulate against teams because our confidence has dropped, or are they going to be back up for it? If they're back up for it, then I'm even more on Arteta's side, and I do honestly think that we will bounce back, and I think we'll see a really, really good performance. That's about it really for tonight. Like I say, I had a bit of a wobble. I think a lot of it is I don't really have the time that I would like to dedicate to doing this channel as much as I possibly can, especially coming up with Christmas. I've got like loads of photography jobs coming up, so it makes things difficult on top of my day job and family stuff as well. So we'll see how we go with that. But until the next time.